Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the server room. It is 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 2nd. Holy moly. Episode 36. Wow, 36 episodes so far. This is season 2 of 2018. And we're going to give it a few. We're going to actually start maybe at 8:01. We have a lot to do today. So I just want to make sure that the YouTube channel is receiving the content. It looks like it is receiving the content. Awesome. We are live. It is still 8 o'clock. We're going to wait one more minute until we start. And we are officially going to start. It is 8:01. Welcome, everyone, to the server room, episode 36. Hopefully, all of you guys had a very fruitful kind of week. Mine was extremely busy at the job. It's always constantly busy at the 9 to 5 job, as well as my night job building content for you guys. So hopefully, you guys are enjoying your Friday, chilling, have a beer or whatever you're doing. I don't know. So I'm going to stop talking and we're going to get straight to the show because, again, like I said, there's a lot that we have to cover. And I'm going to switch the scene. Hopefully you guys are capable of hearing me with no problem. Most likely, if you are not able to hear me, you're going to let me know. But let's get started. So today's, we're going to do the announcements. Big thank you for Lenovo. They're the ones that have provided the TD340 that I have been using throughout season 1 and also season 2 with a lot of my virtual machines that I have building. For the top 3 chatters for the last show that we did, I think it was episode 35. Yeah, episode 35. Big thanks to Dave, Matthew, and Microsoft SCCM Guru. Thank you for joining and being a chatterbox. My good friend from my network admin, Parker, from the Discord server, he's created 2 awesome Google Docs. One gives you a list of everything that's happened with season 1 and everything that's going to be happening with season 2. Just an update. I am a huge gamer. I do have a twitch.tv. I changed my name to TechZero, which is my tagger, my gaming tag. Check it out. Follow me. I try to game as much as possible. And also, I set myself a first quarter subscriber goal. I'm trying to hit 50,000. My main goal is try to hit 100,000 subscribers because then YouTube kind of hooks me up with that awesome plaque. That's awesome, right? So my goal is to hit 50,000. I know it's a huge goal. I believe if we go into scene 1, you're going to see at the top right there, that's how many subscribers I have right now. And yeah, so that is my goal. So let me stop yapping and get straight to it. So today's topic is all about MIM. I think is MIM. I think that's how you pronounce it. Microsoft Identity Manager. Why am I tackling this for this episode? Because my good friend, the network admin Parker from the Discord server, wanted me to touch base on this. And it interests me because I've never heard of it. I know nothing about it. I am not a guru. So the first thing that I started doing was researching. A lot of sites don't really have great documentation on this. The only documentation that you can find is within the TechNet blog site. And reading that stuff is like you have to decrypt it. It's like everything is encrypted. They tell you to do this, do that, do this. So the majority of stuff that I did for the Microsoft Identity Manager, believe it or not, I did everything best practice, creating all the specific accounts. I followed the TechNet blog articles to the T, but I've had a lot of issues with the TechNet, and I'm going to show you guys all the issues that I had and how I fixed it, because that's who I am. I don't want to basically get it up and running and show you how to do it, because that's the same concept of reading the blog sites from the TechNet. They show you how it works, but behind the scenes, when you're installing it, getting all the requirements, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to work on the article, right? That sucks. So So Microsoft Identity Manager helps you manage the users, credentials, policies, and access within your organization. Has 5 key components. One is the MIM portal, self-service portal on SharePoint. So we are going to be doing SharePoint, and holy moly, SharePoint was my kryptonite throughout this entire adventure dealing with the Microsoft Identity. It was my kryptonite. But I got around it and I got it up and running. Number 2 is the management policy rules, which is your MPR, which are rules and permissions and actions. You have your workflows, which triggers your MPs, your management policy rules. And then you have your PAM, which is your privilege access management. Keep your privilege access safe. And then I haven't touched this on my own as of yet. I did a little bit of research, a little bit of reading, and a little playing around with my Azure infrastructure. But you are able to do hybrid, which allows you to do reporting to your Azure. Now, side note, it can be installed within Windows Server 2016. This is old information because of the application server, but you are able to install it with Server 2016 depending on what version you're installing. If you do push out Microsoft Identity Manager 2016 Service Pack 1, you are able to install it on Server 2016. I found that out the hard way. All right, the Google Doc that I'm showing you guys right now will be provided at the end of the show. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be providing for you guys. A lot of stuff. PowerShell scripts, installation files, the PowerPoint. All right, the PowerPoint is literally close to 500 slides. Yes, I go through every little thing. But I'm going to skim through it real fast for you guys because the majority of stuff you guys already know how to do it, like build a SQL database and create an account and all that good stuff. So within the Google Doc, I gave you guys a link of the core requirements of what's needed to get this guy up and running. Okay, so as you can see on the server side right here, 2000, I'm going to zoom in for you guys. Okay, so it says Windows Server 2016, but it has an asterisk. See, the version mark with an asterisk only supports MIM 2016 Service Pack 1. If you only have 2016 definitely needs I think the roles and feature of the application server to be installed. I found this out late, so I had 2012 R2. That's the operating system that I'm using, but you are able to use Server 2016. It should be the same method, the way that I'm going to show you guys today, but yeah, so my poison is Server 2012 R2. Now, AD prep. You need to create a lot of user accounts as well as a lot of groups. Okay, one, you're going to be creating a management agent, a sync service, a common service, a password registration for your application pool, because you're going to be taking advantage of your SharePoint as well as IIS, because IIS is one of the core requirements to get this guy up and running. You're also going to create a group, an account, for password reset application pool, also a SharePoint farm account, a SQL admin, and a PAM service. For your groups, you definitely need to create a sync admin, a sync operator, sync joiner, sync browser, and a sync password reset. Now, all these AD accounts as well as groups, I got all this stuff from the TechNet blog site. So again, it's really rare that I follow best practices when doing this stuff, because I say screw it, I just use admin for the hell of it, right? But I really wanted to do it the right way to see how everything works. Okay, PowerShell script that I'm going to be using, this guy right here is a lifesaver. Again, my kryptonite throughout this entire adventure dealing with Microsoft Identity Manager was SharePoint. So this guy right here was a big help. I did do some modifications on the particular PowerShell, which again is going to be given to you at the end of the show. It's going to be a zip file with all the modifications that I did to make it work within my system. And I want to show you guys, this is the server. It's web-based. It has one application that does the synchronization, which you have to create 2 agents. One agent is for your FIM, which is your Microsoft Identity Management Service Management. And I'm going to zoom in for you guys. There you go. And then the other one is your Active Directory Domain Services. So you need both of these. It's a lot of work. And then overall, it is web-based. So this is right here. Let me zoom out so you guys get a better view. So it's web-based. Okay. So let's go back to this. And this link right here will take you to download the WCF Data Services 5.6 RTM tool installer. You're gonna definitely need this. I will explain that when we're going over the PowerPoint. And the initialization environment profile. Now, when you read the Google site, like right now, this is not the Google site. When you read the TechNet blog site, which I provided the link, because this link right here is basically going to tell you what I'm going to show you, but it doesn't give you nice pictures. Everything is like do you really have time to read all this? Would you rather just have pictures of it done step by step and just look at the pictures and just follow it rather than reading all this crap and decrypting this? This is nuts. But this is the path. Again, I've been reading around, and there's a certain path that you have to run your services for stuff to sync up. That's the part that I'm stuck a little bit because this will cause some errors, and the errors are known for the MIMP 2016. Okay? So, and then, again, this is the site that you could go and check it out. Like, I tried this way, and also if you go all the way in the bottom right here, where's that? When you're creating your profiles, your connector profiles, when you're initializing the test, it tells you to do a full import. You're probably saying, what the hell is all this, Bernardo? What are you talking about full import and full sync and export? Trust me, I'm going to explain everything right here. But these are the steps that it tells you to do. Sometimes it doesn't work, and the steps that I do provide for you guys on the Google Docs, it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it do. It's crazy. So let's get straight to the PowerPoint because this guy is a monster, and I'm going to zoom in. I want to show you guys how many slides this guy is. 434 slides. Yes. And I'm going to try to do this under an hour because I don't want to keep you guys this Friday. I want you guys to relax, have a beer, and just relax, right? Go catch the show tomorrow on a Saturday morning when you're eating breakfast or something. So let's full screen this guy. And there you go. So like I said, episode 36, we are doing install and configure Microsoft Identity Manager 2016 Service Pack 1. I kind of learned late that you can install Service Pack 1 with 2016. I just did 2012 R2 for the hell of it. So first thing you need to do is configure users and groups. I created a organizational group called MIM. You don't really need to do this, but for me, just to keep everything nice, I like creating folders for those that know me. I created a bunch of accounts, and this is the name that I did. Again, you don't really need to follow the way I did it. You could call it whatever, but if you want to follow what I'm doing throughout the show, as well as you want to follow the documentation, I advise you to name everything the way that I'm doing it. Next thing, you need to create your groups. Now, I don't show you in the slide that I created my SharePoint farm, and I did not create my PAM. And what was the other one? There was another one that I should have created, but I do create them throughout the slide. And the reason why I didn't do them all in one shot is because I was following the TechNet blog site, and I was just following it to the T. So they was telling me, okay, you need to create these user accounts, you need to create this, blah, blah, blah. So this is the users, the groups that I created. And within the sync admins, I added my regular admin and as well as a user account that I have that I use for admin rights. Okay. So the next thing that you need to do is prep up your machine, and that's install roles and features. Again, I am using Windows Server 2012 R2. That is my poison for this installation. But you are able to install servers. You are able to install MIMP 2016, but Service Pack 1 on Server 2016. Yeah. So you're gonna click on Manage, Add Roles and Features. You're gonna get this guy. You're gonna click on Next and Next again. Again, I'm gonna fly through this quick because you guys already experienced this, right? Click on Next, and from here you want to check Application Server. You want to go all the way to the bottom and check Web Server. Web Server. When you click on this, it's gonna want you to add additional features. Just click on Add Features. Click on next, and from here you definitely need to have .NET Framework 3.5 features. Click on next. All right, check on it. And I went all the way in the bottom, and for me, because I'm going to be doing a lot of PowerShell and a lot of stuff with Active Directory, I went for it and just went inside the remote server admin tools, and I added the Active Directory module for Windows PowerShell. I kind of recommend this for anyone that's learning PowerShell and manage their Active Directory. This is a lifesaver. Trust me. Customizing and scripting a lot of stuff within Active Directories makes your job super simple, adding people to groups and creating multiple accounts in an instant, right? Click on next. Again, this is not needed, but for me, I did it because some of the stuff that I did throughout the installation stuff on the MIMP, I used the Active Directory in Windows PowerShell. We're going to click on next and next again. And by default, this is checked. Make sure the .NET Framework 4.5 is checked. Okay. Click next. Next again. You don't have to do anything here. Leave all the defaults. If you want to get all technical, you are able to go inside the web services and modify and enable certain things that you would think would benefit you in your environment. But for me, I left everything as the default. Plus, within the TechNet site, they don't really tell you need to do this, do this. They just tell you, okay, make sure web service is enabled, just click next. So it's leave it all default. Because we are using Server 2012 R2, we have to specify an alternative source path for what? .NET Framework 3.5. And I have my ISO mounted to the D drive, so I just told it D sources SXS. SXS, yeah. Press OK on that. And installation, and you're good to go. If you want, you can reboot the server, but you don't really need to reboot it at all. So the next thing that you need to do on the local machine, and I want to tell you guys before I continue, I'm doing everything as a standalone server. That means I am installing SharePoint, MIMP, SQL, everything in one box. It's not really best practice. It's not. SharePoint definitely, for what Microsoft stated, they would want you to have the SharePoint on a different server. Definitely on the SQL database should be on a different server, and your MIMP, your synchronization, all that stuff should be on a separate server. But for the hell of it, I did everything on a standalone machine. Okay, one box. So on the Microsoft Identity Management Server, you need to configure local policies. So within here, you're going to click on Start, and you're going to type in Local Security Policy. You're going to click on that, and it's going to launch. You want to go inside the Local Policy node, and within there, go to User Rights Assignments. Now, the one that you want is Log On as a Service. Double-click on that. By default, you're going to have the NT Service, All Services. You're going to click on Add User or Groups, and you want to add basically all the user accounts that we created. The agents, the password reset, password registration for the application pool, the service, and the sync. I made a mistake, and I also needed to put in the SP farm as well as the PAM services. Okay? Microsoft doesn't tell you that. I learned that the hard way. Again, it's one of those things. You follow the Microsoft articles, and eventually you get problems. But that's one of the kind of things that I learned the hard way. You needed to add the SP farm account as well as the PAM service account into this as well. Okay? So you press OK, apply it, OK, there you go, done. Next thing that we need to do is install the Microsoft SQL 2014. I'm doing SQL 2014. I think, let's go inside the Google Doc, and let's close this up. Okay, so for SQL, for our database, I think, yeah. So you could go up to 2016. I went for it and just went 2014 Service Pack 1 because that's what I have. That's what I have licensed. I have a license, a legit license. But you are able to do Server 2016 if you want, okay? And let's go back into this. So I'm going to go real fast on this because everyone should have at least a SQL database up and running. If not, the documentation, the PowerPoint will be provided at the end of the show. You guys could go take your time, go over all the slideshows. But again, from here, once you install, because I'm using a virtual machine, I mounted my ISO of my SQL 2014. It launched up, click on install, and I bypassed the product key. But the first window should be your product key, and then when you click on next, it should take you to the license and terms. Just accept it. Click on next. Definitely push out Microsoft updates if you want. Click next. It's going to initialize the setup. I don't have to worry about the firewall, and the reason why is because it's local. Everything is local. But definitely, if you have a SQL database that's a separate host, make sure the firewall settings or firewall ports are configured correctly, that other machines are able to access it. Okay, click next. I did a SQL Server feature installation, and again, you got to understand this is me following the article. Okay, data engine services is what we need, and I went all the way to the bottom, and definitely need management tools because I want to get in there, do a little couple of queries, and make sure everything is up and running. Click on next. Also, I left everything as the default as a C drive. A lot of people like to change it, but for me, I'm keeping everything kind of simple. C drive is for me, okay? Default instance, I'm going to leave it as is, and click on next. And from here, you're going to configure your startup type, as well as if you want, you could configure your server agent to have a different account, as well as a server database engine, okay? And set the password and click next. Now from here, you want to add the current user, and you also want to add the sysadmin group, okay? So whoever's inside this group will have access to the SQL database, okay? I don't show it here, but I went back and I enabled the mix mode. I don't like doing this a lot in production, but for testing wise, I just enable it just for precaution. Once you do all that, click on next. Click install, it's install, blah, 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 done. So every time I install SQL, I like to go inside the start menu and just start up the management tool and just make sure that the instant is running as well as the server agent. Don't get me wrong, you could go inside services and just check both services and make sure they're running. But I'm so accustomed to doing this, and go for it. Okay. Plus, that also gives me a reassurance that the username and password is working to have access to the database. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is prep for SharePoint, and holy moly. So I want you guys, I'm gonna get a little water right now, wait. I want you guys to go get yourself a cup of coffee, go get yourself a beer, go get your snack, and then come back right away. Because this right here, this is where the ride starts happening, all right? So everyone buckle up and get ready, because this was the worst experience ever dealing with SharePoint. Like, holy moly, Microsoft, serious? Come on. They give us a tool to make things easy for us for installing SharePoint, but it does not work. Crap. All right, so go straight to it. Preparing for SharePoint installation. So this is where I create my SP Farm account, and you need it's good to have at least a SharePoint Farm account, because this is the one that's going to have full admin rights throughout all your collections and all that stuff, or your web portals. Now, I made a boo-boo because of my bad habits of my testing environment. I didn't use SP Farm. I used an admin account, which I should have never done that. But just want to give you guys a heads up, okay? Now, that's one step for the SharePoint, just creating an account. Also, you need to start setting permissions for your app pool account. So within your SQL Server, you want to go inside the security node, right-click on logins, and new login. From here, from the login name, you want to search location, change the location to your entire directory, and you want to do the SP Farm. You want your SP Farm to have access to the database. Again, this is my mistake. I forgot to use the SP Farm account during the installation of the SharePoint. And that wasn't the problem. That wasn't my kryptonite, because again, I used an admin account and I had no problem, trust me. Your SP farm, you want to give it server roles, and you want to give it the following. You want to give it DB creator, security admin, and sysadmin. Press OK. You want to do the same thing for the password registration application pool. Okay. That particular user will have DB creator, security admin, as well as sysadmin. You want to do the same process. I'm skipping because you got to do this right here. You got to right click on this. Got to right click new login 3 times. Okay, 3 times. You got to right click on new login, click on search, change the location, click on entire directory, and then find your names and then change the server role. Okay, I did the same concept of hit. I right clicked on logins, new login, search, blah blah blah, same thing. I just bypassed all that stuff. For this account, the MIMP password registration application pool, again, creator, security admin, and sysadmin. I also added the password reset application pool. That one also has creator, security admin, and sysadmin. Oh, sysadmin. Sorry, sysadmin. Yeah. So this is how it looks. Okay. Awesome. I think it's one of those things that I learned the hard way at the very end, and Microsoft doesn't tell you that within their documentation, is I should have added the PAM service account as well to have access to the database. Damn Microsoft. Now, set application pool for service principal name, your SPN. So this is where PowerShell comes in. So you're going to click on Start, right-click on your Windows PowerShell and run it as an admin. And hit yes once you get the user account control. And I'm going to do a CD so I get into my root. And you want to run the following. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm going to zoom in for you guys. So you want to run set SPN -s, okay, http://bj-mimp, which is going to be the primary name of my portal, btnhd /mimp reset AP. So that's going to be the account that I'm going to be using for this service principal name. Okay. So that confirms it. It's all good. And next thing that you need to do, the L just lists it. Okay. So zoom in. So set SPN -s sets it, and dash capital L just listed. This right here is just a confirmation that it was set and the service principal name was created, okay, or registered. Now, this is one of the things that, again, I learned the hard way. Well, I'm so used to when you're testing stuff out, I rarely push updates out to my testing machines because, again, it's a test machine, right? You just want to test stuff out, and if it breaks, it breaks. So with this experience dealing with Microsoft Identity Manager, your machine has to be fully patched. And again, this process is I'm still working with the SharePoint stuff. It was one of those problems I had. SharePoint was giving me a lot of problems because Windows was not updated. The Windows update services weren't running. If you go inside services and you enable it, it's still not going to work. It's going to give you problems. The machine has to be fully patched for SharePoint to work correctly. Learn that the hard way. And again, don't get me wrong. I push updates out to my 9-to-5 servers all the time. That's my production. That's what you're supposed to do. But for a testing environment, I wasn't really expecting that. I was just expecting double-clicking on the exe file, next, setting the variables and settings, and you're done. No, SharePoint was like, no, you need to have Windows updated. So I pushed out all the Windows updates, make sure that's nice and updated. I had a couple of updates on my virtual machine. It was a brand new, fresh virtual machine. It had 162 updates, so I pushed all of them out. Okay. Now we're preparing for the SharePoint installation. Yeah. So you download the SharePoint. For me, I think I got SharePoint 2010 Foundation because core requirements. Let's go back over here for SharePoint. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. This is SharePoint, and this is the core requirements. I think I think correction. I'm using SharePoint Foundation 2013 SP1. I think that's the one that I'm using. But you are able to do SharePoint 2016, but it has to be the Microsoft Identity Service Pack 1 version for that to work. Okay. So let's go back here. So when you double click on the file, it's gonna launch the wizard. I didn't want to do that, so I opened up a command prompt within the root of my D drive or in BTNHD, which I had this shared. And I also created a folder called SPF for SharePoint Foundation because I want to extract everything inside the exe file inside this folder. So that's what I did, and there goes the goodness. What I really wanted to do is use this because this tool right here, this beautiful, nice little tool that Microsoft provides us, supposed to help us, supposed to install everything for us to the point that all we have to do is double click on the setup file and just sit back and relax and then configure the SQL database connection and the username that you want to use. No, this crap doesn't really work. Trust me. All right, so running the SharePoint prerequisites. This is where all the goodies happen. So, like I said, Microsoft says double click on it. It's going to install all the roles and the features and everything that you need to get you up and running. Hell no, that did not happen for me. So I clicked on it. Looks like all good. This is all the service that's going to happen. It's going to install .NET Framework, Windows Management Framework, application server roles. Some of these roles I already have installed, so I shouldn't have any problems. So I click on next. I accept the terms. I click on next. Everything looks like it's going, and bam. There was an error during installation. So I'm scratching my head like, okay, what's going on? I did a little research. This is a very common problem dealing with the prerequisite tool. So a lot of sites, a lot of websites, a lot of tech sites basically says, download the Windows Server App Fabric, install it, rerun the tool. Same problem. Same damn problem. Over and over and over. So I eventually got it to work. It bypasses it. Boom, another error. I was like, what the hell? This tool's supposed to be helpful. It's not helping. It's causing more problems and more headaches. Again, this was my kryptonite throughout this entire installation process. So what I did was, I said, why not do this offline with help? So I downloaded 3 PowerShells, which I showed you guys the link at the very beginning of the show. Very cool PowerShells. One downloads the prerequisite files for you. That's easy, right? You don't have to do much. One installs it, and one install the roles and features. Now, the roles and features I already had installed, so I don't really need to do that. But I definitely needed to do this and do this. I need to get them and install them. So I open up the downloads folder. I open up the downloads PowerShell script, and I looked over it. The first prompt right here, it says, please enter a directory path to where you wish to save the SharePoint 2013 prerequisite file. So I said, okay. So I created a SP downloads folder, and I ran it, and I copied and pasted in there, and I hit enter. And it looks like it was doing its thing. And I saw all the files that I needed. How awesome is that? Everything was downloaded. Cool. So what I did was I copied everything that was downloaded from the PowerShell, and I placed it within a folder within the main root of where my SharePoint installation files are located. There's a folder called prerequisite installer files. Drop them in there. This folder is made for those individuals that want to install SharePoint offline, right? Because the prerequisite is supposed to read this folder and install everything for you. That doesn't really happen that way because I tried it and still problems. So how did I get around it? So, before we continue, there's another tool, that WCF 5.6 that I was telling you guys, you need to download it because the PowerShell doesn't grab it. And this is a requirement for the SharePoint 2013 Service Pack 1. Now, when you download it, it's the same version that the prerequisites download. I think this one right here, the original one, This one right here, I think it's 3.5. You need 3.5 installed and then 5.6. Because of the same name, the one that you downloaded, which is 5.6, just rename it as 5.6. This is where the second PowerShell that we're going to run, you need to make some modifications on it. And I wanted to show you guys that I took my virtual machine offline and I put it inside the private network, which the private network does not have any internet. I just made sure that I didn't want this SharePoint to contact anything, right? Because I had all the files locally. You're supposed to talk to this folder, which is locally. It has all the files for you, right? So I opened up the install, and the only modification that I made was I created a variable called WCF Data Services 56, and I pointed it to the 56 exe. Okay, we definitely need this. Okay, again, this PowerShell script, the modifications that I made on it, will be provided at the end of the show, so don't worry about it. So next thing that you want to do is hit run, and when you hit run, when you hit run, it's going to say, hey, we need that main folder. So I'm gonna go back and see if you guys go back. I can't see it. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so there you go. So it's gonna say, please enter the directory path to where your SharePoint 2013 installation files exist. My path was SPF, that folder. So I copy that path, paste it in, and boom, you see this little guy pop up again. So I'm saying, okay, the PowerShell script is doing this thing. It's probably piggybacking on the tool. Why not? Let's click on next. I accept it. I click on next. This is a good sign. It wants me to restart. It's restarting. It's Windows ready. Do not turn off. It's installing features, 84%. I'll do a Control-Alt-Delete. And this is where the problem starts happening again. I hit yes. When you hit yes, apparently the PowerShell script that you was running disappears. The prerequisite tool within the installation folder takes over, and it gives you more problems. So this is the reason why I snapshot this and I highlighted no. So when you get this, when you log in, hit no. Please hit no. Once you hit no, you go back inside PowerShell, you open up the install prerequisite file, and you run it again. You do the same thing. Give it the path. This tool is going to pop up. Do not worry. Click on next. Accept the terms. Hit next again. It's going to start running, and eventually, yes. Installation is completed. Awesome. It took me about a day and a half to get this thing up and running because I was having so many problems with the built-in prep tool that they provide you. And I'm so happy that I found this script and it worked out with no problem. So the next step is make sure you restart. So I restarted my virtual machine. Boom. Now install SharePoint. Really? Now. So double click on that setup file and you're gonna get that user account control. Hit yes. And it looks like it's working. It's not working. Bam. The product requires Microsoft Framework 4.5. I'm like, what the hell? I know I had 4.5 installed. I even went inside my screenshots and I carefully looked at that section. 4.5 was installed. So what the hell is going on? Why? So it looks like there's problems with this issue, and there's a patch that they give you. Microsoft does provide you a patch with Microsoft SharePoint Foundation 2013. And I do provide you guys that DLL file. It's a DLL file that you need to insert in a particular folder. So I found the patch, the .NET Framework patch fix. This is the patch right here. It's a WSS setup.dll. And you want to copy this and place it inside the updates folder. Just place it in there. And then now you're okay to install SharePoint. So double click on your setup. Hit yes. You're going to get this nice little friendly dialog box, but wait for it. Bam, you get this. Finally, holy moly. You accept the terms, hit continue. What we're going to do is a complete server type. Is a complete. We're going to install now. It's going to start prepping. You definitely want to leave this because you want to run the SharePoint product configuration wizard now. because you want to share. You need to tell SharePoint the account as well as the database and all that good stuff. So click on close. You're gonna get this. Click on next. You're gonna get this dialog box right here. It says the following service may have to be started or reset during the configuration. Hit yes on this, and connect to an existing farm if you already have SharePoint already implemented. But for this, you definitely need to create a new server farm, okay? Because this is a new installation. And I'm doing everything in one box. Database and database name. This is the database name that's going to be created within your SQL database. Okay, so you provide the server name, which is local, and this is where I made the boo-boo. Sorry. I should have gave it the SP Farm account. SP Farm account should have been added here, and the SP Farm should have been added. Well, SP Farm was added within the SQL database. I just forgot to add it here. It was my mistake. But you definitely want to add your SharePoint Farm account here. Click on next. Passphrase. Make sure you write it down, or put it in whatever kind of software that locks your passwords. This is very, very important to have. Okay. For ports, I specified a port for this one. I gave it 888848. And for the config security settings, I left it as the default, which is NTLM. Okay, click on next. And this is all the settings. This is your database. For me, it was local. This is going to be the name of the new database. And the host for the Central Administration web application, this is their address. And authentication provider would be NTLM. Okay, click next, and it's going to do its thing. This process takes a while. And eventually, you get all the information. I would say take a screenshot of this and put it inside documentation so everyone knows what is what, right? Click finish. When you click finish, your internet browser will launch up, and it's going to have this. I said no, I don't want to participate, so click OK. And eventually, you are going to be inside your SharePoint Central Administration. Yay, SharePoint is installed. Yeah. All right. So to get into your Central Administration sites, this would be your URL. This was the name of my server, so this might be different for you, or whatever port you use, default.aspx, and that will log you in. Okay. Well, you need to get into that because we need to set up manage accounts within your SharePoint. So within SharePoint, you want to go to security. Within security, you want to configure manage accounts. And again, I think it signed me off from administration and put me in system admin. So I just provided my credentials, logged me back in. So the only managed account that I have is the one that I provided during the database entry. Remember, I should have added SP Farm. Shame on me. But I am able to correct that and add SP Farm here. So you want to click on register manage accounts, and the following that you want to enter is you definitely want to add your password reset application pool. Also provide the password, press OK, and you do that process a couple of times. So the one that you want is the password registration and the password reset application pool. And I just went for it and just did this SP Farm. Automatically, you should have your SP Farm there if you added an actual account that deals with your SharePoint. Okay. And next thing that we need to do is create a web application, a SharePoint portal, for our Microsoft Identity Manager, because it uses SharePoint. So from your machine, you're gonna click on Start, and you want to start typing in SharePoint 2013 Management Shell. Right click on that and run it as an admin. And we're gonna definitely hit yes on that. So from here, we're gonna do the following. And let me zoom in. Cool. So we are gonna create a variable. Let me drink a little water. Apologize. Sorry about that. We're going to create a variable, and we're going to assign that variable with the following parameters. So it's going to get the service SharePoint manage account, and it's going to be the identity of this. Okay, it's going to be the password reset application pool. So you probably saying to yourself, why are you doing this? I'm following the Microsoft site, and they're telling me, like, the article that I added within the Google Doc documentation that you guys are gonna get. When you click on the link, it gives you a breakdown of why you should add all these accounts, and it's just crazy. So that's the first. We created a variable, and we assign this. Okay. And next thing that we need to do, what I did was I just called out my variable just to make sure that this user account is assigned to MA. You can call it whatever you want, okay? And the next thing that we need to do is the following PowerShell command. So we need to do a new SharePoint web application with the name of MIMP portal. You can give it whatever you want. This is up to you. We're using the parameter of application pool, and I called it MIMP AP. We are also using application pool account, and we're calling our variable that we created, MA. Okay, so we're using this particular username for our application pool account. For the authentication method, we're using Kerberos. And the reason why I'm doing the PowerShell here is because during the installation of our SharePoint, we configured it as a NTLM configuration, right? The Microsoft Identity Manager needs Kerberos for it to work correctly. So this is the reason why we're doing this on PowerShell. And I assigned the port 80, and the URL would be, https:// bj dash, and which is the name of the server. Okay, you're gonna get this nice little yellow warning. It is okay. It takes some time, so hit enter, and once it enters, it should give you this display name is MIMP portal, the URL. When you go back inside your central administration from SharePoint, you want to click on application management. Underneath web applications, click on manage web applications, and lo and behold, there you go. There goes our portal that we created within PowerShell. Gotta love PowerShell, right? Next thing that we need to do is create a new site collection within SharePoint. So within your central administration, click on create site collection. And once you click on that, you want to give it a title. I gave it MIMP portal. Your template selection, you want to pick 2010. And for your template, you want it blank site. Blank site. Okay. And at the very bottom, you want to assign a primary and secondary collection admin. So I give it this user account. My first one should have been SP, and then the second one should have been something else. But it's really up to you. I would recommend that your primary should be your SharePoint farm. Okay. Once that's configured, you click on OK. And you're going to get this. It's going to say Central Administration Application Management Top Level Site Successfully Created. And that's the link. Click OK. And once you click OK, it's going to launch your new portal, your new blank collection. And then that's awesome. So next thing that we need to do a couple of things on our portal. We need to definitely disable the view state as well as the self-service upgrade. We do not want this portal to be upgraded. There should be no upgrading this portal at all. So we need to disable that. So the only way to disable it is we need to do a little bit of PowerShell. Again, a lot of PowerShell is being done throughout this entire installation configuration of the Microsoft Identity Management stuff. So I'm going to zoom in. Again, I am creating a variable called CS. You can call it whatever you want. And I am assigning it to Microsoft.SharePoint.Administration.SharePoint Web Services. And it's going to be the content service. And from here, I'm calling the variable cs.viewStateOnServer equal to false. Okay. By default, it's set to true. You want to set it to false. And that's it. Hit enter. You're not really going to see any magic pop up. It's just once you hit enter, it just happens. If you have problems, you're probably going to get errors. Okay? So don't expect like it's okay, successfully done. Okay, you hit enter, it's nothing. Next thing that we need to do is update it. So we're definitely going to call our variable that we created, and $CS.update, and hit enter. And then you definitely need to do a service SharePoint timer job. This right here would disable the timer on your portal, I believe. Okay, so it's get SharePoint timer job hourly, all SharePoint timer service health analytics job disable SharePoint timer job. The whole point is we need to disable this portal so it won't update on us at all. Hit enter. Again, don't expect it to say successfully done. It's just going to be blank. Okay. And the next thing we need to do is disable the updates. So this entire process right here was to disable the view state. I know, right? And this step right here is to disable the update. So again, I'm creating a variable $site. Again, you can call it whatever you want. And I'm assigning it to get SharePoint site, which is the name of this. And hit enter. And now we're calling the site.allow self-service upgrade, and we're assigning that to false. So you're basically saying this command right here, this right here is getting the SharePoint. We're telling it where it's using the command get SharePoint site, and we're telling it what portal to use, right? So this portal right here is assigned to site. Then we're calling our variable .allow self-service upgrade, which is a I forgot how you call it. It's like a parameter, and you're assigning that to false. Hit enter. Again, don't expect it to say successfully done. It's just done. And that's it. That's how you disable the view state as well as the update. And again, all this information is on the TechNet site. They just put everything in words, and you have to like understand what the hell Microsoft is trying to say to you. Next thing that you need to do is add the service principal names for the MIMP sync account. And again, I did a little PowerShell. I've been playing around with a lot of PowerShell. PowerShell is very powerful. So open up your PowerShell, hit yes on that once you get the user account. I did a CD / so I get into the root. And the following command that I did was the following. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. So again, I did the set SPN dash capital S to set it. And it's going to be the FIM service / BJ dash MIMP, and the name that I'm going to be setting this account, this service to. And once you hit enter, and the service principal name is assigned. Cool. It's really weird because right on the article, this service right here is not even installed as of yet. But they want you to do it first. There's like 2 services that need to be running for this stuff to work properly. But you set this stuff first, and then you install the services. It's Jesus, why Microsoft? I don't understand it. The next thing that we need to do, again, because I did just the server name. I also did the full qualified name of the server just for the hell of it. So I added that as well into the service principal name. If you want, you could do a set SPN dash capital L with the name that you assign, and if you give it the name, it's going to show you everything that this name has the service principal name on it. Excuse me. Next thing that we need to do, I think we went over. Yep, we went over that. Next thing is add the agent account to the sync admin group. So rather than doing that old school, going to Active Directory and going to the group and adding, I did a little PowerShell. I gotta love PowerShell, man. That's why I took advantage. That's why I added the PowerShell commandlet during the server, the roles and features part. So I called the add AD group member identity which is the group, and I added the member agents. That's all I did. It's basically going to Active Directory, finding the group, adding the name. It's the same concept, but I'm just doing it the geeky way and using PowerShell. Okay. Now, copy the Microsoft Microsoft Identity Management installation files to the server. So we're getting close to the installation part. And how time? Ooh, wow, it's already 8:55. So I copied all the installation file, and I mounted the ISO on the virtual machine, and I copied everything over to my D drive. I created a folder called MIMP, and I copied everything in it. So blah blah blah. Now the first thing that you need to install is the synchronization stuff for your Microsoft Identity Manager. So within the folder, like within here, let me show you guys real quick. Let me stop and go inside the server and minimize all this stuff for you. So when you copy over the contents on the MIMP stuff, they give you like a crap load of subfolders. This is all the subfolders that they give you. So it's like, okay, where to start? Where the hell should I start? You know, they do provide you an auto run, but it's like, okay, where should I start? Here? This looks like an obvious place to start, but it's not. Okay, first thing that you need to do is do the synchronization stuff. So let's get out of there. All right, so go inside your synchronization services, right click on setup, run it as an admin, hit yes on that, get the nice little wizard, click on next, accept the terms, click on next. Left it as the default as the C drive, click on next. Because the database is local, I left it as this computer, and because it's the default instant, I left everything as is. This might change in your environment, and then click next. Now the service account. Now this service account is the following. Enter the credentials of the account under which the Microsoft Identity Manager synchronization service will run. It tells me that I'm using the eval one. So the service account that I'm using is the one that we created called sync. Provide the password as well as the domain. Hit next. Now, you can keep everything as is, but remember, these are groups. I changed all the groups to MIMP, M-I-M. So I just changed them. They all created. We created this at the very beginning. That was the first slide that we did, that I showed you guys. I created the groups, or the second slide. I created the groups. All I did was just change to MIM. Okay, so I went in and just changed it to MIM. You definitely want to enable the rules within the inbound RPC communication. So enable that, hit next, hit install. Yes. So warning. It says, so the Microsoft Identity Manager Synchronization Service eval service account is not secure in its current configuration. So I was getting a lot of warnings. Don't get me wrong, everything worked. I got the portal to work and function somewhat correctly, but I kept on getting these warnings. I definitely need to do some research on this to see why it was giving me that problem. So it's one of those to-do things that I need to take care of. It's going to say the Microsoft Identity Manager Synchronization Service eval setter will not create a backup of the encryption key. You have to create an encryption key. So when you click on K, you give it a name. You drop it wherever you want. I think I dropped it on the desktop. Yep, and I called it MIMP backup key. Hit save. So this is an encryption key. Click finish. Installation was completed. Finish, and you definitely need to restart your machine. So once your machine restarts, you're gonna log in, and once you log in, you're gonna go inside your start menu, and you're gonna see a bunch of new options. The one that you want is the synchronization service. So I just clicked on it just to show you guys how it looks. It looks pretty. Now it is time to install the Microsoft Identity Manager 2016 Service Pack 1. So it's a lot of work to get this little guy running. So we need to get inside, again, with all those subfolders, we need to get into the service and portal. You're going to right click on setup and run as an admin. Hit yes. Hit next on the wizard. Accept, hit next. So I'm like going through this stuff real quick because this is kind of self-explanatory. Click on next on that. Well, it's up to you if you want to join the customer experience. But for me, I didn't join. So click on next. This is very important right here. By default, the privileged access management is not installed. You have to click on this, and you want that installed on the machine. Okay, very important. So click on will be installed on local hard drive, and click on next. And the database name, it should automatically pre-populate itself. If it doesn't, if you have the SQL database like not within the same server, enter it. The database, into the name of the database. So I entered it. That's not the name. This is the name that it created. You could keep this name because it's going to create a new database, but I just changed it to something else. And create a new database, click on next. Again, goddamn Microsoft. Microsoft didn't tell me this. During the installation of SQL when I first started, they just said you only needed a database engine. And you needed the SQL Server full text search for this to work. Again, I learned that the hard way. Thank you, Microsoft, with your outstanding articles that you have written for us IT people. So I launched the SQL Server installations, and I went back in here, and I just checked off the full text stuff and click next. I reran the installation. When I got to that point, when I click next, this is the next window. Okay, so once you install the search text stuff, it should take you to this. Now, because this is a testing environment, I don't really have a mail server, but I don't think you really need a mail server. I think the mail server will work. I think you need the mail server when you're dealing with resetting or registering your password stuff. But for me, I just added any gibberish stuff here. I mean, if you have a mail server, most likely a lot of you do have that. Enter the information there, okay? If you have like an Exchange, go for it. I left it as default, as generated new self-issue certificate. So right here, enter, this is the common services, configure the common services. So enter the credentials of the account under which the MIMP service will run. So the account's name would be service, password, domain, and email address. I just made a phony one. And then you click next. Again, I got another nice little warning saying that the account is not secure. I have to double check to see why is it not secure. Why are you giving me that problem? It still allows me to install it successfully. So click on next. From here, you want to configure the Microsoft Identity Manager service and portal synchronization. So the sync server and the management agent accounts I provided, we created a sync account. So that's what I gave it. Yeah, sync. Another warning, it says the MIMP synchronization server you have entered does not exist or is not running. So I'm saying, what? What's going on? So if you go inside services, there's a particular service that did not start. It's set to automatically. It just has a huge delay. So right click on it, start it, and once you start, it should bypass that window, and you should get to this. So for my MIMP service server address, I just kept it as the name of the server. When you click on next, the SharePoint site collection, it's not localhost, so just give it the proper URL, which was my server name. For the registration portal, I kept it as the server name, as that. Again, you could change it as you want, but I just kept everything super simple. You definitely want to open up the ports of 5725 and 5626. Very important to have, as well as grant access to users, grant authenticated users access to the MIMP portal site. So click on next on that. For the host name and the port. Now, this is for the PAM. You don't need to enter anything for the local host. You don't need to enter anything for the host name because it's local. Okay, if it was located somewhere else, definitely enter it. But because the PAM is living inside the same server, just leave it blank and just provide a port. I provided 8086. For this right here, this is for your PAM reset API. So for the account name, I provided the password reset application pool with the password as well as the domain. And this right here is for your components. And for the component one, again, Microsoft didn't tell me this in the very beginning. The PAM component services needed an account. So I went to Active Directory and I created a PAM services account. Again, it's one of those things that Microsoft did not mention throughout their article when you first create the user accounts that you need. So I learned that at the later the game. So you enter the name as well as the account, the password, click next, and it gives me a warning. I have to figure out why this is telling me. And it also says, for more information about best practices for securing your service account, please, I need to know why it says that. I just haven't had the time to look into it yet. So click on next. And from here, this is to monitor the services. So provide an account, password, domain. I used the PAM service. I just kept the same. Click next, you get the warning again. Yeah, get the warning again. So click next again. And for your password registration pool, you're going to use your password registration application pool, the password, the host name, and the port. I gave it the port of 8088, and I open it with the firewall and click next. Again, well, this is a little different because I'm not using SSL. It is recommended to use SSL when you're dealing with this because I'm assuming Microsoft Identity Manager is supposed to be used outside of your LAN for users to have access to, reset their own passwords. You're giving the users access to their accounts to reset their passwords when they need to. For my testing environment, I did not have SSL, so I just kept it as HTTP. Okay. For the service, for the MIMP server address, it would be the server name. Portal is hosted on the IIS site, IIS site, which could be accessed by internet users. You're going to provide, this is for the password reset portal. So again, I gave it the password reset application pool account, password. And this is weird. This is another one right here because Microsoft, when we provided the port number here, 8088, Microsoft on their documentation says on this part right here, when you're providing the account information for the password reset portal, you're able to use the same port, 8088. That's a lie. I get a huge, nasty warning saying this port cannot be used because it's being used for something else. So you definitely need to assign another port number and just make sure you open it within the firewall. Again, I'm getting that SSL warning, which is okay. I'm doing everything locally. And you're going to provide the service address. This would be the name of the server. And by default, it is picked. By default, it's set up to portal is hosted on an IIS site, which can be accessed by internet users. I mean, if you want outside usage, this is definitely this is the option that you want. Internet, yeah. I think, I'm losing it. So click on next, click install. Bam, you're gonna get another warning. I got another warning, and I was surprised that my agent wasn't running. So to fix this problem, I went inside services, and it's set to automatic, but it wasn't running. So I just started the services, and then it went through with no problem. So this is like the steps. It's deploying the solution, hit finish, and definitely restart the machine. And then this is another thing that I learned the hard way that Microsoft doesn't really tell you, that there's two services that need to run automatically. And one of them takes its sweet time starting up, and that's the Forefront Identity Manager service. Now, if you're trying to get into the site to start working and start playing around and it doesn't load up for you, go inside services and check if this guy is started. If it's most likely it's set to automatic delay, but the delay just takes forever. So just if you're like me, you're impatient, you have no patience, just start it and it's going to automatically start, and the web browser works for you. So this is the browser. So the URL is this beautiful URL right here, which is the name of your server, identity management / default.aspx. So that's how you would navigate to it. So you still got more to go. This is a long one. So we need to enable user management. Users can read attributes on their own. Again, the whole concept of this portal is to allow end users to have access to their accounts to do certain things to their accounts, like reset their own passwords, right? So to do this, you want to go inside management policy rules, and they got a nice little search feature. So within the search box, just type in user management, hit enter. And the feature that you want would be user management. Users can read attributes of their own. By default, it's set to it's disabled. So click on it and just enable it if you want that option. So it's going to load up. Uncheck policy is disabled. Click OK and submit. Once you submit, it's going to say no. And now users are allowed to read their own attributes on their own accounts. So we need to go inside the synchronization server because we need to start syncing our AD stuff to our MIMP portal. And this is where I had some issues, which I'm still working on. So open up your synchronization service, and we need to create a management agent for the MIMP as well as a Active Directory management agent. And I'm following all these instructions on that link that I clicked on. I'm following these instructions. I'm going to show you guys. Where is it? So right here. These are the instructions of creating the management agent, right? And also there's a crap load of them. Holy moly, there's a lot. And also creating an AD management agent. So I'm going to skim through this real quick with you guys because got almost 100 more slides to go. And I haven't even checked the chat. I don't even know what's going on over there because I'm just going straight through with this. So we need to create a MIMP, a MIN, or whatever, Microsoft Identity Manager management agent. So we're going to open up our service manager. And from here, you're going to click on management agent and click on create. And you're going to click on the drop down, and the one that you want is FIM Service Management Agent. You want to give it a name. I called it Service Agent. Click on Next. You're going to provide the server, database, and the FIM service base address, which is going to be the local host of 5725. And then you're also going to provide a username and password and domain to have access to the database. Click Next. Now, by default, the only 3 are checked off: this one, this one, and this one. So check off group and person, and then click Next. Now, from here, you need to click on Show All. Okay, it says don't need any now, but that's BS because I learned that the hard way as well. Microsoft says you don't need anything now. Check this. When you get to this point, make a note. All right. Make a note, check this off, then click Next. From here, you don't need to do anything for your connector filters. From here, you definitely need to map your group and person. So click on Group, and once you click on Group, click on Add Mapping, and make sure it says Group for your Metaverse object type. And do the same thing for Person. Click on it, Add Mapping, make sure it says Person for your Metaverse. Click OK. There you go. And hit Next. Oh, and this is where the fun happens. I would recommend you guys to go inside that link that I'm going to provide and just go over each one. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this real quick. So you got to make sure you have person and person for your data source as well as your metaverse, right? You want to pick account name and account name on both attributes and click New. Okay. Next one that you want to do still within person, display, and New. Okay. Still in person, email, new. Again, still in person, employee ID, new. Person, employee type, new. First name, last name. And every time I'm picking something, like I'm picking last name, it's new, okay? Objective SID, Objective SID, and new. The next thing that you need to do, we already took care of person. Person is considered as the user account within the Microsoft Identity Management world. Next thing that we need to do is group. So make sure you pick group on the data source as well as the metaverse. And again, account, new. Display, new. Email, new. Mail nickname, and mail nickname. And then click on new. Member. Objective SID, and both sides have to match, and then hit new. I know. And like all that stuff is here. Like, look, this is what they give you. Accounts, display. I was following all this crap. I'm telling you, it's nuts. What a challenge. So once you do all that within the group as well as the person, just click on next. And just make them disconnectors. Click next. And next thing you want to do is configure the extensions, and then click on finish. And then there you go. Right now it's gonna start saying creating, but eventually it's gonna say idle. And once it says that means it's completed. Well, actually it's completed, creating itself. So now we need to create another agent. So click on create. Actually, we need to create an AD management. So from here, click on create and click on the drop down. And the option that you want would be Active Directory Domain Services. Give it a name. I gave it MIMAD. Click on next. And then you want to give it your forest name, username, password, and domain. Now the username, password should be an account that has full access to your forest. So that's what I did. I provided all that information, and I click next. Now, configure directory partition. You can select your directory partition, and once you select that, you just click next. You don't really need to do anything else here. Just click on this and just click on next, and that's it. From here, you don't need to do anything. For your provisioning hierarchy, just click on next. For your objective types, just make sure you have group and users selected, and then you click next. For your attributes, there's a crap load of attributes, and again, within this site, which I'm going to show you guys again, within this site, these are all the attributes that you need. Well, was the AD stuff. See the AD. These are all the attributes that you need. You need company, display name, employee type, given name, group type, blah, blah, blah. This is everything that you need. Okay. So I checked all the ones that I needed. Just going real fast. Make sure you got Objective SID, the SAM account. I'm just showing you, again, the website gives you the list of all of them. I'm just showing you all the ones that did. Right. Once you set all your attributes for your connector filter, you don't need to do anything here. Just click on next. For your join and projection rules, you don't have to do anything. Click next. For here, click on next. You don't need to do anything. Click next again. And for your extensions, click finish. And eventually it's going to say idle, and then you're done. Okay. Now you need to create and run profiles for AD and service agents. Now for both agents that you created, for the AD as well as the service agent, you need to create 5 of them, right? One is to import full sync, sync and import mode. I don't know. I'm going to show you guys. Okay, so to create one, you highlight whichever one. It doesn't matter which one you do first. Both of them are going to have the same steps. So I did Active Directory Domain Services, the AD one, and highlight it. Click on Configure Run Profile, and you're going to get a nice little dialog box. Click on New Profile. So the name that I gave it was Profile 1 Full Import. Click on Next, hit the drop-down menu, and the one that you want would be Full Import Stage Only. Click Next, and click Next. Click Finish, and just make sure you apply it. And then you're going to do it again, New Profile. This one's gonna be profile 2. This is going to be a full sync. And just make sure the drop down says full synchronization. Click next. And again, click finish and hit apply. New profile again. This is your third profile. And once you click on that, I called it profile 3, Delta import. Click next. On the drop down, make sure it says Delta import stage only. Next, finish, and apply. Click new profile. Yes, I had to do all this. This is just ridiculous. New profile. This is going to be number 4, Delta Sync. Hit the drop down menu and hit down the drop down menu. Hit down, click on the drop down menu and make sure it says Delta Synchronization and click next. Then hit finish and then apply it. And then you got one more profile, last profile. This profile would be number 5, and this one would be your export. Make sure it says export, next, finish, and then apply. Now that's only for Active Directory. You need to do the same steps for your management agent. Yes, you do. So highlight it, click on configure run profiles, and just for the hell of it, I just didn't take a snapshot. It's the same concept, same things that we did. Click on new profile, give it a name, make sure you pick your type. First profile should be a full import. Second should be a full sync. Third one should be a Delta import. Fourth one should be a Delta sync. And the last one should be an export. Okay. Now create a sync run. So now we're going inside the portal. Now we're physically touching the portal again. How awesome is that? So within the portal, you want to go inside synchronization rules. Click on that. And you want to click on new. And you want to give it a name. So I gave it AD sync. You want to make sure that the data flow is inbound. Click on next. You want to go from here, your metaverse resource type, your external system, as well as your external system resource type. The following settings would be a person, MIMP AD, which would be the name that you provide your your agent, right? And then the resource type would be user. So go all the way to the bottom and hit next. For your metaverse object person and as well as connected, it's both of them are going to be identified. The relationship between both of them are going to be the object SID. Okay. You want to create the resource FIM and then click on next. All right. And for your inbound attribute flow, so click on new and you want to do the following. Click on new, hit the drop down menu. You want to do the SAM account name, go to destination, and the destination would be the account name. So you're going to constantly do that. Press OK. Do the same thing over and over. You're going to do it to the point that you're going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. The 7th one would be your domain, and the attribute flow would be a string. You would provide your domain name, and then when you go into destination, you pick domain. Okay? I just bypassed all that. It's the same concept as doing the first one. Just make sure the last one that you create, which is your domain, you pick string, and then you pick domain for your destination. Okay? Click finish and submit. And there goes our synchronization rule. So, time to initialize the environment. Time to start syncing everything within our AD up to MIMP. And this is where I have problems, which is the problem that I have is very, very common with this type of application. And I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay, like this is all new to me. I'm still figuring it out. I was happy to get this up and running. There's a couple of bugs that are popping up, and they're known bugs in the Microsoft world that a lot of people are still having issues. and I'm definitely going to try to figure it out and push out future videos for you guys of how I fix it within my environment. So running it, you need to run both of them, and eventually when you click on users, you should see your users there. And that's the last slide. Holy moly, I need a beer. I need alcohol in my system. The way that you run the profiles is the following. Well, it really depends. There was an article within Microsoft that stated you need to do profile 1, profile 2, profile 5, profile 4, and then you go to AD Sync and then run all 5 of them. Then go back into your service agent and then run this one. But then if you go inside this article and go all the way to the bottom where it says initialize the agent, it tells you to do the import first, sync, export, delta, and then go to the AD and just run export full and full import and then full sync. Now the problem that I have been having is, one, it's not working. Okay, duh. But if I go inside operations, I want to show you guys what I've been having issues, and it's the export. The export is where I'm having the issue, and this problem right here is very common. This has been happening a lot. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been trying all the fixes online, and I haven't got it to work yet. I mean, yet. I'm very determined to get this up and running. I definitely want my AD stuff to show up on the site. I went inside the database. It looks like this problem is due to multiple accounts that are duplicates, but I have no duplicates within my Active Directory. It's such a small little Active Directory with maybe 20 accounts. It shouldn't have a problem. I'm still working on it to get it fully working, but I have the site up and running. Everything is working. The only problem is just the export portion of it, grabbing the information from my AD and then placing it inside the database. That's where I'm having problems. And it's not a permission thing, because I double checked all my permissions, and it's not that. It's something else causing it, and I gotta figure it out. Again, once I figure it out, I'm gonna post a future video for you guys on how to fix it. If you guys know about this or have tested this out or tried it within your environment and want to play around with it, hey, by all means, go for it. Let me know if you figure it out. That'd be so cool. It is 9:28. Holy moly! Let's go inside the chat to see who's there. I'm going to end it in a few minutes. We have a couple of people. I do appreciate everyone watching. So we got a couple of people. We have Alex, we have Chad, we have Joe. Thank you so much for joining. I know we had a couple people. I know the show has run extremely late, but all the information provided, all the documentation, that like the PowerPoint or the PowerShell scripts, all the stuff that I'm going to provide for you guys so you guys can have it and test it out within your environment, will be posted at the end of the show. And I'm going to end it right here, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Again, first quarter of the year. My goal is to get 50,000 subscribers. That'd be so awesome if we could reach that. If not, we're going to push it hard. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. I don't know if I'm going to be doing something next week. I don't know. Hopefully you guys, I don't know. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Again, make sure to come back. There will be a link at the bottom of the video in the description that will take you to my GitHub repository where all the files are going to be located, so you guys can grab a copy of it, play around with it, break whatever you need to break, and test it out. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I catch you guys on the next one. I am tired. I'm really tired right now. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I always forget how to end this. All right, I'm out of here. Later. It's over? Wait, it's not over yet. I'm really tired. All right, I'm out of here.